I think I'm in love.
You can do whatever you like to me, you sweet little veal cutlet of a woman.
I don't get it.
The Joker's had a few high-profile romances during his time at DC Comics, and they tend to elicit some strong responses. But in a world one could pitch any ideal partner for the Clown Prince of Crime, was anybody pitching Power Girl? Was that the couple whose love you were rooting for? Well, if you were, have I got the backup story for you. Today is your lucky day. Matthew Rosenberg has your back. Greetings, comic lovers, and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from news comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, to really wherever our whims take us. And today, it's romance. What a romantic day. The Joker has been saturating the markets in the 2020s and even before, but especially so time of recording. So for our purposes, we need an outing from 2022, late 2022. Joker, the man who stopped laughing, which is meant to be picking up after issue 15, the last issue of the Joker ongoing series helmed by James Tynion IV. That had launched in 2021. That series was comprised of two stories. The first, a more Joker-centric one, starting off focusing around Commissioner Gordon and his quest to catch him. And then there was an ongoing backup starring Punchline, which was written by Sam Johns and James Tynion IV. And that one focused on her trial following the events of the Joker War. Now when it came to the man who stopped laughing, this solicitation instantly caught my eye because of how jarring it was when you had the main story described and then the backup. The two halves are very tonally distant from each other. Get ready to be regaled. We're gonna go into the solicitation. The world once again holds its breath as the Joker strikes again. But how far is he willing to go this time? From the twisted minds of Matthew Rosenberg and Carmine Di Giandomenico comes a violent, mind-bending new series that picks up from the cataclysmic end of the Joker and follows the mayhem across the United States, with the Clown Prince of Crime setting out on his most bizarre caper yet. Will a fan favorite vigilante be able to prevent certain tragedy, or is he in on the joke? Next up, Joker's got a hot date, but he's gonna need a mirror to make sure he looks nice. Maybe Mirror Master can help. Whiplash. Absolutely brutal whiplash. Gonna need to make an insurance claim. It's particularly amusing because the first story in this comic is called It's Not Funny Anymore. And in the back of it's called Here's Looking at You, Kidder. Pick a lane. Well, I mean, I guess they have. It's puns. Let's get on the train to Punville. Now, the main story we're gonna leave alone for the moment because it's not gonna give us that Power Girl Joker action that we're looking for. But they are doing a two Joker thing in the main story, which has led some to believe that these two stories are interconnected. Are they? Are they not? Is it more confusing than it needs to be? Are people overthinking it? Is this just a random backup, or is it secretly gonna be telling little details that will give hints to the main story? Only time will tell. Whatever it's doing, it's still odd. Let's go. Here's Looking at You, Kidder. It was a day like any other for the Clown Prince of Crime. The Joker's crime spree has been stopped by Power Girl, and while he is up there faced with the boob window, or the Wally window as one of my commenters named it, and I love that, that's so great. While he's up there, he starts thinking about food, but he's not thinking about melons. He's not thinking about jugs. He's thinking about meat. I think I'm in love.
You can do whatever you like to me, you sweet little veal cutlet of a woman.
Several things. Little and veal cutlet. Just why? Comparing women to pieces of meat in general, already not the best idea. It's meant to be a joke, but we're not even going for the obvious meat jokes. Like, my rack of lamb. I don't know, I'm trying. Give me your meat pun. While out causing chaos and calamity with his trusty henchmen, Jackanapes and Gaggy, the Joker has been rudely interrupted by yet another dastardly do-gooder. But this time it's not the bad or any of his Oh, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why is it like an expletive, but then it doesn't continue on, so it doesn't say sidekicks? Does he have a nickname for them where he just calls them all a cuss word? I don't know. But a buxom blonde bombshell known as Power Girl. But can she take our charming prankster down before she falls for him? It's pretty easy not to fall for the Joker unless you already have something else going on, some kind of inner darkness that can be fanned or manipulated or something like that. You gotta have some kind of pre-existing inclination in that direction. If it's gonna start totally from scratch, he's gonna have to take a long time to do that work, and he's not gonna put that in this issue. But then again, Power Girl did have sex with Hal Jordan while a battle was going on just underneath a construct because he was there and it was slightly stressful. So the judgment may not be great. And it was with white streaks, Hal, too. Now, Power Girl wants nothing to do with the Joker except for him to tell her where the rest of the bombs are located across the city. But he's just mesmerized. He even has hearts as eyes now, and he asks her to dinner. Will she do him the honor? Make him the happiest clown? This probably isn't that uncommon for Power Girl. It's probably just more annoying because it's the Joker. This story also has a lot of editor's notes, but a bunch of them are fake. But it can be a bit jarring at first because Rosenberg does want you to know that he's read a lot of Joker stories, because there are a lot of references littered throughout this little backup. But then there are also these fake editor's notes to comics that didn't exist. So when Power Girl says she thinks the Joker is lying and there are no more bombs, we have a reference to American Funnies 312, but that's not a thing. I checked. There were lots of all-American this and funny that, but nothing of that title. So the joke appears to be that it's a fake reference. It's just very odd because it could have been a real note to an instance where the Joker had lied, and it still could have been just a silly instance, because the idea of having an editor's note for something so simple like that is in and of itself a bit over the top. So mileage is going to vary on whether this lands or not and how you feel about editor's notes and their function. Because editor's notes do serve a purpose. They can actually help tie things together or gain more knowledge for a reader, or even send them in a direction where they might find something else that they absolutely love. They can provide cohesion to the universe or make the reader feel more invested. It's just a very flippant, odd joke. It's a bit dismissive of a practice that time of recording isn't already utilized to its fullest potential. Sometimes there are things that happen and you could really use an editor's note, especially with the Omniverse and everything being canon, so it'd be good to know where things are coming from and they just aren't there. So then to have a fake note like this, I don't know, just for me it doesn't land. I've seen people asking if Power Girl and Joker do actually have any kind of relationships. They might actually be trying to go look up some of these notes, and they're just gonna flounder and look and there's nothing and wonder if they're just doing it wrong, but it's for the lulz. Unless it's not, and it's some really deep cut that I can't find. If so, please send me. I need American Funnies 312, where the Joker was tricked into lying by the president, which doesn't even line up with what's happening then, because if he was tricked into lying, that's different than just being a straight up liar. You know what, let's just leave the note. I'm a person who takes the editor's notes up on their offer to go and look into them and find more context. Care a lot about the editor's note. Anyway, he wasn't lying. There are more bombs. What? I don't want my future wife thinking I'm a liar. I have to prove to her I mean every word I say. Sometimes. And so he blows up the bridge. A lot of people are dead. He's able to escape with Gaggy and the rest of his henchins while Power Girl screams that she'll kill him. Why is she just standing there then? Get to it. She's Kryptonian. He's just on a boat. She can just fly over there. There's no way he could move fast enough. Even if we're going with her Atlantean origin, she's still faster than him. There's no way he could have escaped the wrath of Veal Cutlet extraordinaire Power Girl. Veal's also young. Someone said they felt that should mean that she'd be Supergirl. Just, this story's going places. But the Joker does escape and he's back at his hideout and he's lamenting because he's in love. Later, upon returning to Fancy Nancy's mannequin factory, she hates me. I don't think she hates you. She does. Hi there, Dave again. The comedic editor's box. We meet again, my arch nemesis. Not for the last time. There are some very strong advocates for the comedic editor's box. It has its fans. And for others, it depends on the context. It's like a spice. You need to know how much to apply and when. He kills his henchman Jack Frost when he dares suggest she doesn't want to go out with him. So the others are quick to assure him no, she's totally into him. But if that's the case, why wouldn't she kiss me when she had the dance?
Maybe she's shy.
Have you seen her outfit? Ooh, that's uncomfortable. What an implication. Remember, how you dress just instantly reveals your inner personality. Turtlenecks, introvert to the max. It can't just be that you love the suave sophistication of a turtleneck, or that you just enjoy the ostentation of a boob window. Jackanape suggests that just because she dresses that way doesn't mean she's not shy. Thank you, Jackanape. This is meant to start off a what's wrong with the way the Joker dresses montage, but I'm still on the have you seen how she dresses?
This joke on its own can work, because yes, her outfit is kapow and implies confidence, and Power Girl is a confident character. But in this context, with the other stuff going on, it hits different.
I think it's meant to frame the Joker in a certain light because it's got very strong she was asking for it vibes. But a lot of the Joker's jokes in this have that kind of undertone. I'm not sure why. It's one of those things where his characterization is already so odd that they stand out in a jarring fashion. And there's already so many other things going on with the Joker that is that really necessary to add on to the story? Veal Cutlet, look at how she dresses. It's just so strange. They end up stacking on top of each other and just making the tone of this story even odder. But the Joker needs to pick a nice sexy outfit for his date. So he goes to the Mirror Master. Why the Mirror Master? So the end joke of this issue can happen. The Mirror Master here also says that he uses magical mirrors. I mean, unless something's changed, no he doesn't. I wouldn't put it past DC for it to have changed. The canon has been very wonky for a few years. But the Mirror Master started off tech-based and later found a mirror dimension and still used tech on top of that. They weren't magical mirrors unless we're counting alternate dimensions as magical. Is this the world where magic and science are one and the same? Has the Mirror Master been hanging out with Thor? So the Joker starts trying on outfits and he kills Gaggy, slits his throat. This we're daring to suggest that his 1989 Batman Joker outfit is so purple that it says that makes him look like someone who likes purple, even though he was already wearing purple in the first scene. so he clearly does. He also tries on his Dark Knight Returns outfit, his Morrison outfit, his Killing Joke outfit. This feels like I'm trying too hard. This feels like I'm not trying hard enough. There are a couple of chuckle-worthy moments littered throughout, and depending upon your history with the Joker or your sense of humor, they may be different for you. Maybe you're still on the ground from veal cutlet. The Joker is going very hard in the Killing Joke, so there is amusement value to him saying he isn't trying hard enough. And the Morrison era had him rocking a bullet to the head and slitting his tongue in two. So yeah, there's some try-hard energy. They just flat out reject his Suicide Squad outfit because that's a very easy go-to joke. And then there's a new suit that's slightly reminiscent of the one he's wearing in the first story. It's black, but then the accoutrements are different. And the Mirror Master gets beaten to a pulp because he says there's no way Power Girl would date him because she's a 10 and the Joker is maybe a 6. Oh, sorry, he says he's a negative 60. Oh no, have you seen the Harleen Joker? It depends who's drawing him. Now, while the Mirror Master is being beaten, we see that the reflection on this last costume isn't moving because it's a magic mirror. So the Joker goes out and goes hard. He pulls apparently one of the most ridiculous crimes ever, and not only does Power Girl not show up, but nobody else shows up. No Superman, no Batman, no nothing. I guess all these people are just dead. Where'd he get those lions? It's over the top. It may get a chuckle out of you.
This is the Wonder Woman incident all over again.
She tried to pull the Joker's head off after he accidentally sank the SS Gwynplaine in True Tales of Love 173. You know I looked for this. You know I looked for it under other names as well. I'm very sad because the Joker has had encounters with Wonder Woman and he could have pulled from one of them. Some of them were very strange. As the Joker trudges home, loveless, we see Power Girl on a date with his mirror double. The end! So apparently we're not going to continue this tale unless the end is a lie. So many questions. Who wants to come overthink this with me? You've been warned. Initially, I was gonna cover this as a short, just a quick like, hey, this happened. But then the more I thought about it, my confusion grew. Not as to what happened, though that was a bit more convoluted than it had to be, but on the but why though front. Firstly, I don't get this backup. Is this meant to be a tonal palette cleanser like some stories do, where you have a really dark first story and then you have a comedic second story? So we're trying to get some lighter Joker fare? Are these lighter hearted stories meant to be in the Joker's mindset, and they're gonna show some things that end up pertaining to the first story, some little details that'll end up trickling back up, which is something that's easy to think because they're by the same author. It's also easy to think that they're gonna have some relevance because in the last Joker series, the Punchline backup was serving a purpose. It was telling the story of Punchline. So is this story following along in that vein, or is it just that the format now is that you have an A story and a B story, so they need to put a backup? Was there not enough of the main story to fill out the entire issue? I have a lot of questions. I'm in a pit. I can't get out. This story is meant to be funny and miles will vary, but for me it was more odd than amusing. There are some references to position this Joker as in line with the Silver Age Joker, who is extremely rarely used comic-wise. He went on a huge hiatus, but you can get there a bit based on his main henchman, which is Gaggy, or Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy, who debuted in Batman 186 in 1966, but Jackanapes is newer from the Morrison era, Batman 666 in 2007. This version of Jack Frost appears to have been created just to have his head blown off in this backup, and the Joker's just killing willy-nilly, which is not in keeping with his Silver Age characterization because he would not have been allowed to do that at that time period. It appears to be there just for the joke of creating that juxtaposition of, oh, look at how willing he is to kill. In some ways, this story demonstrates one of the big problems with the Omniverse. The Omniverse was a big event where everything was canon, and they recently tried to explain, but the only things that matter are the things that you care about emotionally. But if everything is canon, there's no solid foundation to know where the joke or characterization is coming from, unless it's super clear, like in World's Finest number 8, when Supergirl saltily referenced her time in the orphanage. That is a clear callback to a specific moment in her history. But in this backup, everything's so vague that you don't get a sense of how the character should be acting. If a joke relies on a character acting out of character, then they need a base character for this version to be acting off from. But if you have a world where all characterizations are in play, then you can end up with a version that just feels off in general. True to none and off from none. Just something completely different. And that's more the vibe here. Love-struck Joker in this capacity feels like a different character, and this story is certainly too short to earn it or pay it off properly. You can pull this version of the Joker off, but it doesn't really work here. Too many things are random. It also depends who you pick as the love interest, and the choice of Power Girl just feels very random. It feels like it's more chosen for a couple of cheap jokes that they throw in more than anything else. I don't think I can call her Power Girl while we're being intimate. Power Woman, maybe. Girl versus woman joke. The Joker's gonna be making some POV videos any day now, but nothing will beat Lady Dimitrescu phone scene and you're the chair. That's quality content. There's also the question of why would Power Girl date his mirror self? It doesn't make sense. It's a joke where the concept has been stretched too far. Because like, is the mirror version of him nice? Did he actually have traits that she would enjoy? It very much throws Power Girl under the bus in a way. The image of Power Girl and Joker on the surface is funny, but it's an idea that doesn't bear up to too much scrutiny. And the more details you add to it, the more it falls apart. It's one of those jokes worthy of being condensed into a panel in those comedy what if or what the issues that Marvel used to put out. So that way you don't have to think about it too much. For that way lies madness. Veal cutlets! Sexy veal cutlets. Look at those veal cutlets. The thing is, you could replace Power Girl with pretty much anybody and it wouldn't make that much of a difference because the joke is more, look at how love-struck the Joker is and look at how out of character that is. His escape would probably make much more sense if it was someone else. Now, not everything in a story needs to make perfect sense, but there needs to be at least some kind of adherence to an internal logic or some kind of lore or base character knowledge. If not, it's just a series of panels and references. And having a tighter internal logic or story that does really adhere together does make for a stronger story. Knowing a bunch of parts of the Joker's history and showing them, as nice as it is to see such things acknowledged, isn't the same as applying them in a meaningful or humorous fashion. It got some brief chuckles here or there, but on the whole it's firmly in the but why though category. Even if it pays off in some way later on, still, but why though? The art for this backup is also not the finest. It looks quite rushed and almost half finished. Francesco Francavilla has a distinct style. You can see it on works like Afterlife with Archie, where it's similar to this, but with much more care and detail employed. I'm not sure what happened here, but the story doesn't look as polished as some of his other work. I don't know, maybe he didn't have enough time. We need the Joker dating Power Girl stat. But those are just my thoughts. I'm sure for some this was an absolutely hilarious romp, or at least a fun one. I'd turn your brain off and oh, wouldn't it be silly if the Joker liked Power Girl? That's funny and it doesn't need to be deeper than that. And some actually had a lot of fun just making jokes about the premise. Like, oh, that's why he's not into Harley, because he has step on my mommy kink, or he needs to be the little spoon, or oh, he likes blondes, or who needs shippers when DC's gonna do it for them, and a bunch more. Or do some of you feel that this is what the Omniverse is for just little plot bunnies to run wild and free? I want to hear your thoughts. Did this work for you? Comedy gold. What is going on? Weird vibes from some of the jokes. Are you a sexy veal cutlet? Sorry, a little veal cutlet. Share your thoughts down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some today spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. I can't stop saying it now. It's become a word that I've said so much this video that it no longer feels real. Veal cutlet.